Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Opposition calls for special audit into FSC operations. Multi-million-dollar robbery at Hilo in St. James. And later in sports, our Georgina Sportsman and Woman of the Year to be crowned this evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. As the investigation deepens into fraudulent activities at Stocks and Securities Limited, the opposition People's National Party is calling for a special audit of the operations of the Financial Services Commission, FSC. Opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, says this should be carried out by the Auditor General. More in this report. There's expectation that there will be more casualties from the Financial Services Commission over its failure to act following a report in 2017 into SSL, which revealed widespread breaches and irregularities. In a press release calling for the special audit, opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, says the audit should determine the effectiveness and the decision-making functions and conduct within which the FSC carried out its statutory mandate. The call comes as the entity has lost its credibility following the multi-million-dollar fraud being made public.
This should include examining the relationship between the staff and the board in relation to the regulatory performance of the entity. The audit should have regard to the FSC's conduct with respect to other entities where regulatory actions have also been taken.
Mr. Robinson says this is necessary as confidence in the FSC has been shot.
The public needs to know, one, what recommendations were made by the FSC for implementation by SSL after the 2017 report. Were these recommendations implemented? Were there follow-up audits of the SSL by the FSC to ensure compliance with these directives? Were actions recommended by the staff of the FSC which were not supported by the board? And why did the FSC fail to take appropriate regulatory enforcement measures in a timely manner, given SSL's history of serious breaches, within the context of actions that have been taken against other entities where breaches have been identified?
The opposition spokesman says the government must move with urgency to engage international forensic expertise to supplement and support the work of local law enforcement agencies such as MOCA and the FID in its investigations.
Specifically, forensic accounting and cybersecurity expertise should be engaged. This must be done to ensure that funds stolen from customers of SSL can be traced and recovered wherever they may be.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke is assuring the public that there will be full transparency in the government's response to the multi-million-dollar fraud at investment firm Stocks and Securities Limited, SSL. Sandy Williams has that story.
As the Financial Investigations Division, FID, and the Fraud Squad continue their investigations into the multi-million-dollar fraud at Stocks and Securities Limited, SSL, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says all parties involved will be held accountable.
No stone will be left unturned in unearthing exactly how funds were allegedly stolen, who benefited from such theft, and who organized and collaborated in this. The probe will also seek to identify whether assets have been acquired with the proceeds of this fraud. If and when such assets are identified, all legal steps will be taken to restrain those assets with the intention of full forfeiture.
Dr. Clarke says so far, preliminary investigation has revealed that a number of elderly investors are among those defrauded at SSL.
On behalf of the government of Jamaica, I empathize with all investors who have been impacted in this way, and particularly those of advanced age who, at some time in the past, brought their working years to a close.
He says there has been massive speculation and inaccurate reports on the fraud uncovered at the firm. However, while assuring that there will be transparency at the Financial Services Commission, FSC, who has since taken temporary management of SSL, the finance minister is appealing to the public to exercise patience.
I ask for public understanding of the fact that sometimes The legitimate public interest of being kept abreast sometimes conflicts with other critically important and legitimate public interests of ensuring a thorough criminal investigation, securing successful prosecutions, and forfeiting assets derived from stolen funds where possible. Where those conflicts arise, we will be transparent about these too, and prioritize ensuring successful investigations and prosecutions by the relevant authorities.
Executive Director of the FSC, Everton McFarlane, has resigned effective January 31. The FSC has been heavily criticized over its handling of the near $1 billion fraud at SSL. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
In other stories, the St. James Police are probing a multi-million-dollar robbery at the Hilo supermarket located at the Fairview Shopping Centre in Montego Bay last evening. Now it's reported that cash was stolen from the supermarket. A chest which contained the cash was breached and the cash removed. The thieves gained access to the property by cutting a hole in the wall at the back of the supermarket. Now it's understood that the police are at the scene. Brace for delays this weekend. Head of the Area 2 Police Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Allen says commuters traversing the North Coast Highway tonight into the weekend will see delays ahead of another entertainment event. More in this report. Traffic gridlock along the main corridor in St. Ann is nothing new to the commuting public, especially when entertainment events are happening. But with the two-night staging of Rebel Salute, the police are warning the commuting public to brace for traffic along the main corridors in St. Ann, where the event will be taking place.
The corridor from Miami Bay straight back to Runaway Bay into Peachtree Bottom River, that corridor is already very challenged to deal with its own daily commute. So the high volume of traffic that will descend additionally along that corridor for the entertainment event will naturally cause a slowdown along that stretch.
Head of the Area 2 Police Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Allen says he's getting assistance from Kingston to help with the event.
We will be using traffic cones to create additional drivable lanes for those persons that are heading west, coming from the north-south area and has nothing to do with the event. And similarly, persons coming from the western end, heading to Hochirius or the highway, you will have a lane there that will assist in your flow. I have over 30 traffic personnel from P-Stead in Kingston that will assist with the process.
ACP Allen admits that despite a well-executed plan from the last show in the parish, the challenges differ with each event.
The difference between the Sting event and the Berries Bujo event was that Sting was an all-night event. So persons came at their own staggered time for that event, which did not create that high volume at any given one period along the corridor. The Berries Bujo show was just a 5-hour show between 7 p.m. and 12 midnight. And then when you talk about legendary acts such as Berries and Bujo, and then other legendary acts like Marcia and Taros Riley, all of those persons, all bundled into a 5-hour show. That is what created the difference, where everyone is coming at once.
And so, he is asking the commuting public for patience and understanding.
I am asking kindly for the understanding and patience of the commuting public, both those persons who are going to the event and persons who are going about their normal flow, to just exercise that level of understanding and patience with us for this afternoon.
The police in St. Mary is cracking down on traffic violators in the parish. With the assistance from other agencies, including the Island Traffic Examiner, motorists of public and private passenger vehicles in Highgate are being targeted. Several of them were found to be in breach and had their license plates removed. Now, according to the sub-officer in charge of the Highgate Police, Sergeant Christopher Ward, the aim is to remove vehicles that are not roadworthy off the streets.
realize that a lot of accidents took place in the country last year, some of which caused speeding, but of course some is really attributed to defective motor vehicles. So our effort this morning is to really rid the street of some of these vehicles, hence we are here this morning.
In the meantime, with traffic congestion an ongoing challenge, the police are actively trying to restore discipline with truck drivers.
The town of Highgate is so highly commercialized, a lot of trucks, and if the presence of the police is not here, I mean, the town is always a chaos. Hence, we're here trying to regulate these traffic to mitigate against any length delay in traffic in Highgate.
Head of the Area 2 Police, Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Allen, says the police are keeping a close watch on certain communities in the division and will not be letting up on criminals for 2023.
We are working with our stakeholders. We are working with all the crucial entities towards ensuring that things remain calm. The sort of support we get from the community is tremendous. And so we are continuing to strengthen these partnerships, because these are the partnerships that will cause us to realize the goals and objectives we want. In other words, then, our actions are deliberate for the desired result that we seek.
Another warning from the St. Mary Pradia Larceny Unit for thieves to stop targeting farmers after a man believed to be involved in a goat stealing ring was taken into custody on Wednesday. Caught by a farmer whose goat was stolen from December. The farmer said he was told that the accused was seen with several goats in an area of Richmond called Zion Hill. However, when he went there, he did not find his goat. He returned another day and reportedly saw the accused tie the stolen goat in bushes, so he reported it to the police. The accused was subsequently arrested. And on Fridays, we're talking about money management. This week, it's about budgeting, how to spend your money wisely. Here's Cody and Barrett.
It's not enough to create a budget if you're not sticking to it. If your pay cycle sounds anything like this.
You get paid, you pay all your bills, you probably do something nice for yourself, but then you check your bank account and the money gone, you don't see it, you don't know where it is.
Then it might be time to be more intentional with your spending. According to financial advisor Granville Knight, one of the biggest threats to spending wisely is emotions.
Sometimes we have to think about the future, and it's called delayed gratification. So sure, you only live once, create the memories, but the memories don't have to be that expensive. Don't get caught up in the hype about going here and there, and these trips are quite expensive, a lot of things. But what I find is that the simpler pleasures, in terms of those that are more affordable, tend to be more fun, and you tend to have more long-lasting memories. And what matters is the memories, the people that you were with. If you have to spend a bag of money, if you impress a bag of people, quite likely these are not your people.
And to help you spend wisely, here are a few tips. Pay your bills on time. Only put money on your credit card if you can afford to pay it off each month. Stop trying to impress other people. Figure out what habits drain your budget. Learn to value investing over products. Get control of your impulses. So before you make your next big purchase at your favorite clothing store, ask yourself, is this within my budget? Am I acting on impulse or feelings? Or will this slow me down from achieving my financial goals? Join us next week as we have a discussion on the importance of setting goals in your budget.
Thanks, Cody, and it's now time for the Business Minute. The number of households receiving remittances continue to decline according to the latest consumer survey. Pollster Don Anderson says while the value of net remittance inflows seem to be higher, fewer Jamaicans appear to be receiving money from overseas.
In the last 2 years, 2021, 2022, the number of households that are receiving remittances fell 29% in 2021, 26% in 2022. So fewer households are now receiving remittances, but the Bank of Jamaica data suggests that the remittance inflow is higher. And therefore, the assumption and the correlation is that fewer households are receiving more in terms of Jamaican dollar value, which would be consistent with the inflation, with the devaluation of the dollar. But it is saying that fewer households are receiving remittances. Now, remittances are not saved. very few households are able to save remittances.
Japan's inflation rate jumped to a 41-year high as businesses pass on higher costs to their customers. Core consumer prices for last month rose by 4% from a year earlier, double the Bank of Japan's target level. Now pressure is on the central bank to hike its interest rates to help ease the rising cost of living. And T-Mobile says a hacker stole the personal information of 37 million customers. The company revealed the breach in a regulatory filing on Thursday, but it happened in November. T-Mobile says, however, no social security numbers, credit card information, PINs, or passwords were exposed. And that's it for the Business Minute. And now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, in Antigua, the leader of the main opposition United Progressive Party, Harold Lovell, has announced his resignation from the post after he failed to lead the party to victory in the recently held general election. Lovell missed out by 6 votes on winning the City East seat a third consecutive time to the ABLP's Melford Nicholas. Despite the resignation, he says he will remain active with the party in an advisory role to the executive and incoming parliamentarians. On the international scene, Alphabet, the parent company of Google, announced on Friday that it is cutting about 12,000 jobs. During the pandemic, Alphabet grew its workforce by more than 50,000 employees as demand for its digital services boomed. But in recent quarters, business has slowed down for the company. The layoffs will affect roles across engineering and recruitment worldwide, but affected U.S. employees will remain on the company's payroll for 60 days. This comes days after Microsoft announced that 10,000 jobs would be lost, and weeks after Amazon announced an 18,000 job cut. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Giovanni Dennis will have your midday sports report.